Alright, welcome back to episode 2. Today we're talking about the, 1 minute interlude or whatever it is, Haven. I know you talked about him a lot in the last one already, but why don't you tell us about Haven himself?
Well, Haven was I really don't know a lot about Haven, to be honest with you. That's why I called Dirt to the Nameless Explorer. I never knew his name. But the Explorer part comes from the content he did, which was he did videos about things that were out of bounds in World of Warcraft, either out of bounds or beta only, never released, and he would look through those maps and talk about them. And I said in the last video, but he had been dealing with cancer for a while. I think he went through it for probably close to a year. He talked about it on his channel very occasionally. We didn't bring it up a whole lot. There was a period of time where he didn't upload for 2-3 months, I think, and at that point I feel like I kind of knew what happened, and then I guess his family posted a video saying that he had passed with a picture of his character and one of the songs that he always used in his videos. I guess just to kind of tell everybody that he had passed.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where the original inspiration for a lot of this stuff came from.
I tried to look up, there's nothing we have on Haven.
Yeah.
It was just the Guitar Pro, and even that, like my metadata's all messed up, so I have no idea when this was actually written.
I feel like it just kind of came out of nowhere. We were looking for a way to link, because we knew kind of early on that we wanted all of these pieces to flow through each other as we were kind of working on assembling the skeleton of EP1. So I feel like that and Viridian, which we'll get to in another video, came up as a sort of like, okay, maybe we can use these to bridge the gap, because we had Dirge in some form or another. We had Invisible Downpour, but we needed something that could kind of smooth the transition over between the two.
Well, the difference between Haven and Viridian is Viridian, I think, is the oldest thing on this album.
Yes.
Yeah. And Haven, I'm pretty sure I just wrote it like off spur of the moment. Like we were looking for something to go from Dirge into Downpour, and I just kind of played what Haven became. And for quite a while, it was just the guitar part, just the fading in harmonics.
Yeah.
And it was you who really wanted to, really was like adamant on expanding it and making it into something more than it was.
Yeah.
And that eventually just led to repeating the harmonics once and throwing a synth in there.
With the synths and then the drum.
And the drum,
yeah. The same time when we're going to his house and I just had the keyboard, I came up with that little synth part, and I think you even, like, when I first played it, you're like, yeah, that sounds like an old, like a World of Warcraft, like old town sounding like village thing.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of cool, because this guy was like, the World
was
of
a WoW
Warcraft
content guy.
Kind of sounds like something
Plus,
you hear from the game.
I feel like all that stuff added in with the synth and the rain carry over out of C and the drums kind of sets the... Because, like, you're coming out of the sadness that is Funeral for a Friend Never Met. It's like, you're shedding your tears, you've been going through this grief thing, you're crying for the first time, and then the guitars in Haven are kind of like this false sense of, like, it's that very temporary sense of feeling a little bit better about, like, letting stuff out. The synth and the drums sort of come in, especially the drums start hinting at, like, no, there is more of this you're gonna go through.
Yeah. Even, I think...
There's a storm coming.
That was I think those are the last addition.
The drums?
Yes.
To Haven?
That came up, like, right before we went to record this thing, like, probably do, like, like a kick hi-hat thing.
I think it was at least a week before.
Yeah,
like,
but it was, like, really...
Yeah, it was
really
very close, because we were... going into recording these songs in the studio, we were dedicating, like, basically a month, like as much of a month as we could in practices before the recording sessions for each of the songs we were going into a chord. So a lot of a lot of fine-tuning got done over the last little bit before we actually went in and laid down the songs proper. And that might have been one of the last things we added.
Yeah, it was. But it works.
Yeah.
It works really well.